And welcome to another episode of Hazardous Verbal Waste. I am your host, YuGiOh. Today is Saturday, December 7th, 2019. Got a lot of really cool stuff to go over this week, including my review of the new Shonen Jump YuGiOh promo cards that have recently been released. So, without further ado, let's get right down to it, shall we? In Yu-Gi-Oh! News, Konami reveals the next Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG box set, Dual Overload. Last week, Konami revealed the next Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG box set coming in March 2020, as players will be getting new monsters in Dual Overload. Now, each box will come with 6 Dual Overload booster packs, each with 5 ultra rare cards per pack, and 1 of 6 special oversized collectible cards. This set will feature the biggest collection of brand new Link monsters ever, as players will get 30 new Link monsters, as well as 26 other new cards. The complete set will have 100 cards, but they didn't give a breakdown of what kind of cards will be in each one. Here's a little more detail from the company about the set, which will be released on March 20th. This information comes directly from the Konami website. Dual Overload's lineup of Link monsters includes powerful monsters for any deck, like a 5,000 attack Link 5 Dragon that can be summoned using any 5 monsters, but also Link monsters that support other extra deck monster types. You'll be able to find a Predaplant that can use the effect of fusion and polymerization spells in your deck, a Bujin that facilitates Xyz summons, and Christian Halquifibrax, I do apologize, I cannot pronounce that word for the life of me, a monster that can summon a tuner from your main deck and a synchro tuner from your extra deck. Beyond the unprecedented arsenal of Link monsters, you'll also find new cards for fans of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Movies, Yu-Gi-Oh! The Dark Side of Dimensions, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Bonds Beyond Time, new cards for Paradox's Malefic strategy, and Agami's Cubic deck make their debut in Dual Overload. So duelists who started building their Cubic deck through Yu-Gi-Oh! The Dark Side of Dimensions Movie Pack's Secret Edition will have plenty to look forward to. I know I'm pretty excited about this, especially considering that one of my favorite decks uses the Malefic strategy for kind of a special summon engine. How this is going to affect the meta is anyone's guess at this point. Obviously, we'll have to wait until we get a complete list of what cards will be available in that set. Also, in Yu-Gi-Oh! News, I just wanted to do a quick review of the new Shonen Jump promo cards. This past week, I received the new Shonen Jump Yu-Gi-Oh! Promotional cards. There was one Synchro monster and one Xyz monster. The Synchro monster is Judgment, the Dragon of Heaven. It's a level 8 light dragon synchro effect monster with 3,000 attack and 2,600 defense. It requires 1 tuner and 1 plus non-tuner monsters. The effect reads, if you synchro summon this card, all materials must be the same attribute. Once per turn, if you have 4 or more tuners with different names in your graveyard and control this synchro summon card, you can pay half your life points, destroy all other cards on the field. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of this turn except dragon monsters. Once per turn, during your end phase, banish 4 cards from the top of your deck. Now, this card is obviously an update to Lightsworn Dragon, so it would make a great addition and update to the Lightsworn deck. Though I would not be surprised to see a few DD Scout Planes actually start seeing play in the Chaos Lightsworn decks as well, considering that they would offer a way to get monsters back onto the field that have been banished by this card. Now, the Xyz monster that came was Dark Armed, the Dragon of Annihilation. This is a rank 7 Dark Dragon Xyz effect monster with 2,000 attack and 1,000 defense. Requires 2 plus level 7 monsters. The effect reads, Once per turn, if you have exactly 5 dark monsters in your graveyard, you can also Xyz summon Dark Armed the Dragon of Annihilation by using one level 5 or higher dark dragon monster you control as material. You can detach one material from this card, then target one card your opponent controls, destroy it, then banish one card from your graveyard. Also, this card cannot attack for the rest of this turn. Obviously, this is an update to Dark Armed Dragon. In fact, I keep accidentally saying Dark Armed Dragon when I read the card name. Obviously, it would make an excellent addition to any Teledad deck. That's a real, for those of you who may not have been playing the game for long, Teledad was a format a while back that used the psychic type monsters as a turbo for getting out Dark Armed Dragon. It was a terrible format. It was one of those formats where if you were not playing this deck, you did not win. And so there wasn't a lot of deck originality or, just inspiration in regards to what decks were topping tournaments. I don't know how these cards will affect the meta, if they'll even see play at all. If you guys have any comments on this or any thoughts on this subject, please let me know. I'll make sure to let you know how you can contact the show at the end of the episode. That's pretty much all we have for Yu-Gi-Oh! News this week. On to the next segment. In Pokemon news, Pokemon Sword and Shield, how to get Pokerus and why you want this virus. Now, there are several secrets and rare things within the Pokemon Sword and Shield games, ranging from hidden abilities to the complex ways to get some Pokemon to evolve. One of these rare occurrences is the Pokerus virus, which sounds awful but is actually a positive thing to catch. Here's everything you want to know about the Pokerus virus, including how to get your Pokemon infected. First of all, what is Pokerus? Pokerus is a super rare virus that your Pokemon can contract. Your Pokemon have a 1 in 21,845 chance of generating the virus. It makes it rarer to catch the virus than it is to catch or hatch a regular shiny Pokemon. However, unlike human viruses, it's a good thing when your Pokemon catch this one. It causes a Pokemon to gain double the effort values from battling. For example, a Pokemon with Pokerus might gain 2 attack EVs rather than the 1 they usually get. Now, this is a wonderful thing for hardcore Pokemon trainers because it makes it so you can fully EV train your Pokemon in as little as 10 minutes. The virus first appeared in Gen 2 with Pokemon Gold and Silver, but it was incredibly rare, even more than it is now. Starting in Gen 4 with the advent of worldwide trading, it became easier to spread the virus through the internet. Nowadays, you can either get an infected Pokemon in a trade, hatch an infected Pokemon through breeding, or get lucky enough to have the Pokemon generate the infection on its own. Just be aware that this virus doesn't stick around for long. Now, how you can give your Pokemon Pokerus. Your Pokemon have a very slight chance of randomly generating the virus after coming in contact with an infected wild Pokemon. However, since Pokerus is very contagious, your Pokemon are more likely to get the virus from a trade. Now, if you put an infected Pokemon in your party, it has the potential to spread the virus to any Pokemon adjacent to it after a battle. What's more, if you trade an infected Pokemon to someone, the virus can get passed on to that trainer's Pokemon as well. So, if you have a few buddies who are all playing Sword or Shield, you'll definitely want to trade an infected Pokemon around if one of you gets one. Finally, you can breed the infected Pokemon at the nursery in the hopes of infecting its offspring. How does a Pokemon get cured of Pokerus? Since Pokerus isn't technically a status condition within the game, you cannot heal the infection with items or by going to a Pokemon Center. The condition automatically clears up after 4 days, and like chickenpox, once your Pokemon is no longer infected, it can never catch Pokerus again. Any infected Pokemon in your party automatically begins the curing process when a new day starts on your Switch, or when the internal clock on your Switch rolls over to a new day. That means that if you turn off your game one day and turn it on the next day, your infected Pokemon will have begun the healing process. Pokemon with the virus will have the Pokerus icon next to their status when you look at them in your boxes. You'll know that a Pokemon has been cured of the virus because the Pokerus symbol won't have an X going through it anymore. How to tell if your Pokemon has Pokerus? Well, first, while the game is on, press the X button to bring up the menu. 2, select the Pokemon icon. Then press R to go into your boxes. Then hover over a Pokemon in your party or in your boxes. If it's infected, a pink face with an X through it will show up in the box to the right next to the Pokemon's type. If you want to see a little more information, you can press A, then go to Check Summary. And if you have an infected Pokemon, it will say the word Pokerus next to the marking options. Now that you know how to check for the virus, you'll definitely want to run through all of the Pokemon in your boxes to see if you were lucky enough to get an infected Pokemon. How do you stop a Pokemon from getting cured of Pokerus? Fortunately, if you put your infected Pokemon in a box rather than having it in your party, it effectively puts the virus in stasis indefinitely. So you can pull the Pokemon out to infect others and then return it to the box before turning the game off for the day to make sure it stays infected. Now, something to note is that even after a Pokemon has been cured, it continues to earn twice the EVs as before whenever it engages in battle. It just isn't contagious anymore. Now that you know all about the Pokerus virus, if you're lucky, you'll either hatch an infected Pokemon, get one in a trade, or randomly have one of your Pokemon generate the virus. I do wish you luck with your EV training. I hope you're able to get all the stats you want from your Pokemon. That's pretty much all I have for Pokemon news this week. On to the next segment. In gaming news, new Sony PS5 patent reveals strange new controller. With PlayStation 5 still shrouded in mystery, fans are eager for any scrap of info they can get, regardless of their legitimacy. Only this week there was what seemed to be photos of the PlayStation 5 dev kits, though some aren't entirely convinced that they're the final design. Now, Let's Go Digital, the site that originally leaked the dev kit's appearance, has discovered another patent that could be related to it, a multifunctional controller. Now, is this what the new controller will look like? Probably not. Not as previous patents have already shown that the DualShock 5 will be very similar in design to the current PlayStation 4 controllers. So what is this new one? According to the patent filing, the Game & Watch looking thing can connect to multiple devices via Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and transfer data between them. There's quite a bit of potential for this. For example, the controller could possibly allow you to play PC games on your TV or transfer music and video from one device to another. Apparently, and maybe most impressive of all, it can provide you with context-sensitive information. Outside, it'll offer a map of your location. At a friend's house, it can fire up a game for you to play. Let's Go Digital adds that the controller includes things like a fingerprint sensor and heart rate monitor, making it one very versatile device. But is this rectangular design the final look? It seems unlikely. Let's Go Digital theorizes that the patent is really only for the technology and doesn't represent how it'll actually be used, to the point where the features could be added to the DualShock 5 instead. Or it might not even be anything to do with the PlayStation 5 specifically. After all, it's not the only bit of consumer hardware Sony makes. PlayStation 5 is currently scheduled to be released at the end of 2020, with an official reveal expected sometime in the spring. Also in gaming news, and also related to the PlayStation 5, the PlayStation 5 exclusives will reportedly be missing a major feature. According to a new report, PlayStation 5 exclusives from Sony Interactive Entertainment will all be missing a major feature. More specifically, according to Kotaku's Jason Schreier, first-party launch games on the PS5 will not be cross-compatible. In other words, they won't be playable on PS4 in any form. So, if you want to play them, you will need to immediately upgrade to the PS5. Unfortunately, Schreier doesn't divulge any additional details, but it sounds like Sony will not mimic Xbox's approach to next gen. As you may know, Microsoft's marquee Xbox Scarlet launch title, Halo Infinite, will be available on both Xbox Scarlet and Xbox One, as well as PC. Now, Schreier doesn't say where he heard this information, but as you may know, he's considered one of the most reliable sources in the industry and has had scoops on the PS5 in the past. That said, this information should be taken with a grain of salt for a multitude of reasons. For one, it could be incorrect. At the end of the day, it's unofficial information, but more importantly, even if it's correct, it's also subject to change. Interestingly, this seems to indirectly support that Ghost of Tsushima, sorry about that, will not be a PS5 launch title and will rather hit PS4 before the PS5 releases, unless Sony is scrapping the PS4 SKU of the game. But I can't imagine it doing that. So if this information is correct, then Ghost of Tsushima is likely a late summer or very early fall release. That all said, even if there won't be cross-gen releases on PS5 from Sony first party, there will be plenty of cross-gen releases from third-party developers. And this will likely stay the case for a few years, just like it did with the transition from PS3 to PS4. However, eventually, in order to play the latest games, you will need to upgrade. Anyway, for more news, rumors, leaks, and media and information on the PS5, be sure to stay tuned, and I will make sure to have as much information on the PlayStation 5 as well as Xbox Scarlet as soon as the information becomes available. Also in gaming news, unannounced post-apocalyptic Nintendo Switch game leaked. According to Greek retailer Console Club, Metro Redux is coming to Nintendo Switch. When it's coming to the Nintendo platform hasn't been disclosed. All the retailer divulges is that the game is coming to Nintendo Switch, presumably sometime in the semi-near future, if it's already going up with a listing for the port. As you may know, this isn't the first retailer to leak Metro Redux for Nintendo Switch. Usually, you want to take these smaller region-specific retailer listings with a big grain of salt. However, this is the fourth or fifth time Metro Redux for Nintendo Switch has popped up. In other words, it's pretty safe to say the game is coming to the Nintendo platform. Normally, I'd suggest that if we're getting a leaked listing for a game, it means it's going to be revealed soon. However, listings for this port have been popping up for months now, so clearly this isn't the case. That said, we are overdue a Nintendo Switch Direct, and this is the type of announcement you'd see squeezed into the middle of a Direct. Now, in other words, we may still hear about it soon. Now, for those who don't know, Metro Redux is actually a two-part remake. More specifically, it's a package of remakes for Metro 2033 and Metro Last Light. Developed by 4A Games and published by Deep Silver, the enhanced versions of both games can be bought together or separately. That said, it appears this is the latter, both games in one package. Now, this is really interesting news for Nintendo fans and Switch fans, such as myself. I can't wait to see if this game comes out. I'm not sure I will be picking up this particular title. We'll have to see. That's pretty much all I have for gaming news this week. On to the next segment. In tech news, I got a really interesting article here from CNET. Recording your iPhone or iPad screen is incredibly easy. Here's how. Now, recording what's happening on your iPhone or iPad screen is a useful tool for showing a loved one how to complete a task or capturing your Fortnite building skills. Of course, you can still take screenshots and use the screenshot tools to draw and annotate something on your screen, but there are times when a recording, complete with audio, is the better route. You'll need to have iOS 11 or later installed on your iPhone, iPad, or iPod Touch, but that's the only requirement. Before you can begin using the new screen recorder tool, you'll first need to add the Features button to Control Center. On your iOS device, go to Settings, Control Center, Customize Controls, then tap the green button next to Screen Recording. After adding the shortcut, you begin by opening Control Center. On iPhones older than the iPhone X, Get there by swiping up from the bottom of the screen. On newer iPhones, swipe down from the top right corner of the screen. You tap on the screen recording button, which will prompt a countdown inside the button, followed by it turning red to indicate to begin capturing whatever's on your display. You'll know when your screen is being recorded because there will either be a red bar across the top of your screen on older iPhones, or the time will have a red highlight behind it on newer iPhones. Tap on the red button or bar to stop recording. But what if you want to walk someone through how to use a feature or get past a bug you keep running into? Well, you can turn on your phone's microphone and have it record for as long as a screen recording session is active. To turn it on, open Control Center and long press on the screen recording button. A new menu will show up with a toggle to turn your microphone on at the bottom. Tap on the microphone audio button. It'll turn red, then select Start Recording. Now, once you stop recording, you'll be asked if you want to save the video to the Photos app. You simply open the Photos app to view, edit, crop, and share the video. Apple delivered the ability to record your screen in iOS 11 a couple of years ago, but iOS 13 and iPad OS 13, both released this year, brought more important additions. The new features include a dark mode, an improved Reminders app, and the ability to block all unknown callers from ever ringing your phone. It's just a couple of things that you can do with the screen recording app. I know a lot of game streamers will probably be using this to record standalone videos for YouTube and the like for gaming purposes. And I can't wait to see how I can use this screen recording function. That's pretty much all I have for tech news this week. And that's pretty much all we have for the remainder of the episode. On to the final thoughts. Before we get to the final thoughts, here's a few words from some other shows you might find entertaining.
Hey, I'm Chen.
And I'm James.
We're from A Bloody Mess Podcast, the badly researched true crime podcast.
We straddle the boundaries between documentary and comedy, and our aim is to leave you laughing and thinking, wow, I didn't know that.
So once you're done with this podcast, add us to your download lists and give us a go. Have a nice day.
Bye.
There's been a murder of podcast.
Hello! Do you listen to podcasts? Did you seriously just give me that look? I knew you listened to podcasts, but do you listen to the Bare Naked Ladies? Wait, don't hit fast forward. Yes, there's a band out there called Bare Naked Ladies. They are quirky, fun, comedic, and excellent musicians. If you love alternative 90s music with a little jazz, rap, and country mixed in at different times, then you've got to try this band out. And we will lead you through a journey of getting to love this band. We have 3 or 4 people with different levels of bare naked experience. We have Aaron, who's our music expert that breaks down each song. We will try to be informative, but also, we're all friends, so we like to have as much fun as possible. If you are a moderate fan of BNL, then you'll find new experiences and information. If you're a BNL fanatic like me, then I bet you too will find a song that is a deep dive that you never knew of. We sometimes have guests after the first letter. Oh, did I not mention that? We are Bare Naked ABCs, and the ABCs represents that we discuss the songs alphabetically. So come try us out on all platforms where podcasts are downloaded. Bare Naked ABCs. And no, we are not nude during the recordings.
Bare naked. Bare naked. Bare naked. ABCs.
Hello, future listeners. We are Historical AF. I'm Ashley.
I'm Keena.
And I'm Natalie.
We are 2 librarians and a historian bringing the funny, weird, spooky, and morbid historical nuggets you never knew you needed in your ear holes every Sunday.
And once a month, we bring you extra AF episodes full of your stories and history in the news.
And we do this while hitting the giggle water and gracing the world with our foul mouths and wit.
So if you love to laugh and you like history, true crime, and the paranormal, then we are the podcast for you, and your girls can't wait for you to join us.
You can find us on all major podcasting platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. For a full list of ways to listen, go to historicalafpodcast.wordpress.com. And while you're there, you can check out the photos that accompany each episode.
Yeah, bye. We'll see you soon. I don't know. That'll probably scare them away.
Yeah.
Probably.
Come to us. Come to the dark side. We have vodka.
And
Yeah.
cookies.
Hell yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Well, here we are at the end of yet another episode of Hazardous Verbal Waste. I certainly hope you've been both entertained and informed. If you have any comments or concerns or suggestions, there are several ways that you can contact the show. You can email me directly. The email is hazardousverbal@gmail.com. You can also use the contact page on the website, hazardousverbal.com. There are several ways that you can contact the show there. There are links to social media accounts for the show, as well as the Contact Us form. You can also leave a voice message through Skype. The Skype ID is Ichimoto1. And if you do leave a voice message through Skype, I'll make sure to play it in a future episode of Hazardous Verbal Waste. Well, here we are at the end. A lot of really cool information, especially about that Nintendo Switch exclusive, as well as some of those rumors about the PS5. I certainly hope to get some new information regarding the Microsoft Project Scarlet. The new cards that came in the mail for YuGiOh, those were pretty cool. They are up on my tcgplayer.com sellers account. That's Shiro-chan Games. If you want to take a look at what we have for sale up there, maybe make a purchase and help support the show. I cannot wait for the new box set to come out and see what kind of cards I might be able to throw into a current or future deck, especially since I'm currently working on a new deck that I will be talking about later as soon as I get a chance to play test it in a couple of tournaments and see how well it does. That's pretty much all we have for this week, so this is Shiro-chan signing off. Peace.